Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. Now, when it comes to things that anger the gaming community this week, a blue, spiny hedgehog was not on the top of my list. Somehow, the Sonic team have managed to not only disappoint everybody, but absolutely outrage them. And justifiably so. This is something that I never thought I'd be able to say. A AAA studio has now somehow managed to compete with Kickstarter scams for my disapproval. We're going to jump into this right now, but I just need to prepare you, buckle yourself in, because even I was not ready for what I saw. So, recently a new AAA game from the Sonic team, Sonic Frontiers, was announced. Now, I'm going to show you some of the footage of this. It'll be playing in the background, you'll be watching it right now. I need to explain to you how I first heard about this. I hadn't heard the game announcement, I hadn't seen the trailer announcement. I was scrolling through Facebook and I stumbled upon a 3-minute video showing clips from this demo. There was no announcement on there that this was an actual game, it was just a clip of Sonic in UE5 is what it was titled. Now, to my disappointment, I sat there for the full 3 minutes watching this video, and at the end of it, as it started to fade to black, I thought to myself, that's a UE5 tech demo. Cool, I guess someone's learning game dev. Oh boy, was I wrong. During the end of the video, the splash screen popped up explaining that this was in fact an actual goddamn game. And to my surprise, I searched Sonic Frontiers to find that this was not a fan-made game or a fan-made concept. This was in fact an actual honest-to-God game. Released by the Sonic team. Like, let's just let that sink in. This thing that you're watching on screen right now is not only a demo of a game that they're, in the process of making. This is a finished, and in their words, polished, ready-to-release game with no intentions of pushing back the release date. This was said by their lead developer in an interview. Despite the backlash, which I'm going to explain and justify in a minute, despite that backlash, they have no intentions of changing anything at all. What you see right now is what you're getting. That is the game's trailer. Now, this opened up a rabbit hole for me. A pretty deep rabbit hole. Because I had speculations and theories that pretty much everything we're seeing in-engine in this trailer is Megascan assets and UE5 default content. So I thought, let's have a look at this. What engine is this made in? And after some quick Googling, it's UE5, as I suspected, which makes this a whole lot worse. Not because it is UE5, but because the content that they are showing is free inside UE5. Like, straight up free. Now, I'm not going to get into the technicals immediately. I'm going to get into the art. The art style of this game, there isn't one. There is straight up no art style. You have assets from their previous game, which is okay, that's fine, but they are alongside Megascan assets and textures, and then, just to really polish this whole thing off, they have stuffed a cartoon hedgehog into this beautifully detailed, not beautifully art-curated, beautifully detailed setting. You have literally got a UE5 landscape with Megascan grass. They're old assets that once they dragged them in, they clearly realised these are too low poly and the textures are too low detail. So they've stuck Megascan textures onto the old assets, and it's quite clear that they're just world-aligned things that don't actually match the UV unwraps. And then the cartoon hedgehog. The lighting is inconsistent throughout every scene. Now, as a game developer who is working on a game right now and who has worked on many games in the past, I'm going to tell you what this looks like, and I think any developer right now would agree with me. This is a budding game developer who has just installed UE5. They have heard about Nanite, they have heard about Lumen, and they have heard about the plethora of assets that they can obtain and use for prototyping. They've dragged them all out into the scene and tried to make something. They're not trying to make something playable, they're not trying to make something publishable. They are trying to make a thing. They are learning. This looks like that. This looks like baby's first test level. They have got an open world and just crammed in random mechanic-based things that they managed to program in 10 minutes. And if we're being really honest, what this looks like is an R&D sample, a research and development sample. The sort of thing that a solo dev would do over the weekend and bring it to the lead of the studio. And they'd say, hey, I've got this concept. Here's something I've thrown together. What can we make of this? What can we make out of this? And honestly, that's what it looks like. And what this reminds me of is a UE4 tech demo of the Pokemon Charmander roaming around a beautiful world in Unreal Engine 4. Bear that in mind, 4, not 5. And even that tech demo was more coherent graphically than this one. In that tech demo, the entire environment was tied together and looked like it belonged together. Yes, a cartoon Charmander stuck in there was wildly out of place. But you know what? It was a tech demo. This looks and feels worse than a tech demo. And I have to reiterate this. This is a finished product, and you are going to get what you see. What you see is what you get. This is the sort of stuff we would rip into on Kickstarter. Absolutely rip into. It's just a jumble of assets, a jumble of art styles, and you have packaged it and said it's a game. By definition, yes it is. But is it what the consumer is actually expected to receive? No. The consumer deserves better than this. Miles better than this. Now, let's take a look at this. These assets, side by side, are essentially the ones they've used. Now, in some circumstances, they've taken one rock mesh and stuck the beach rock formation texture on that mesh so that it doesn't look like it's the same, Megascan asset, so people can't instantly pick it out. If we flick through all of these assets, like the mossy rock, the Heartland Quaystone, these are the things that are appearing in this game. Like I say, they've combined different textures with different meshes. So like they'd use this mesh with a different texture so it's not so high resolution. The team said they've been working on this for the past few years. I am straight up calling bullshit. Absolute bullshit. They are lying without a shadow of a doubt. What they have to show right now is a couple of checkboxes on Unreal Engine that they've just dragged in and put a new texture on that's already available. The water in the game is straight up UE4 default water, but they've increased the displacement on it. And just to top it all off, they have sent out a trailer to the masses where they have visible pop-in in the near field view. They have got animation sliding. There's no animation blending between walking and running. You are either stood still or running on the spot pretty much if you tiptoe forward. And it's almost like they are actively trying to showcase that. There are parts of the video where all they do is stand still and slowly move into a walk, then a run, and you can see the animation sliding. And I know, you might be thinking that's just a small nitpicky thing. Considering that nothing else has been done in this game, this is a 10-minute job maximum. You've got the standing still animation, you've got the walking animation, and you've got the running animation. You can right-click them together and make an animation blend where it blends between them on a speed scale. You don't get foot sliding. And you might be thinking, Callum, why are you so angry about this? I'm not a massive Sonic fan, but I have enjoyed their games. I like the franchise for the most part. But what really, really is irritating me about this is that the bad practices of Kickstarter scams, of asset flips, has now moved up to the AAA industry. They're not selling you a game. Genuinely think about this for a minute. When you think of Sonic, what do you think of? Fast-paced action in curated zones with curated tracks and other things. Every one of those points I have just mentioned to you is not present in this new game. This is almost like a test level lab kind of thing where they were just testing out possible interactions in 3D and they just ran with it. They're selling you a research and development product that failed. There is no other way to put it. Because here's the thing. There were some YouTubers or content creators fortunate, well, I say fortunate enough to get their hands on this and test it firsthand. It's, from what I've heard, it was an absolute misery for all of them. For the most part, most of them hated it. And they have confirmed after that trailer went out, it feels as bad as it looks. It does not feel like Sonic. It does not feel like any sort of coherent game controller was set up. It just feels janky. It feels like there's no meaning to do anything. And this is the problem with them putting Sonic in an open world. They have showcased a metric ton of landscape and area that's got nothing. It's a barren wasteland. What is the reason for it being there, if not to just fill things out? But they've now got filler that they need to fill. And their ending note on this interview was, the viewers just don't understand what this is. And there's two sides to this. Either, yeah, we don't understand what the hell this is, tell us, or we fully understand what it is and it's nothing source. Companies are forever taking concepts that were failed and tying a franchise to it. Brand recognition being tied to a product will instantly make it more successful than it would have been. And I'll be honest, the AAA industry is starting to worry me. Because if they are stooping down to the level of product quality of a Kickstarter scam, where are people going to draw the line between what is a Kickstarter scam and what is a AAA game? How can you differentiate the two if they're copying their practices? I'm going to make a bet here. And this is going to sound extreme or exaggerated. This is my honest to God opinion on this. I reckon this was created by 1 to 2 people in the span of 48 hours as an R&D prototype, and they brought it to the lead of the team and said, "What can we do with this?" And he just went, "We'll sell it." And for anyone who's got doubt about these being assets, I am a game developer that has used assets as placeholder, as testing, and I have recently been using a lot of mega scans to test out the limitations of UE5. The foliage, the plants, the trees, the rocks, they are all mega scan. Sure, they've probably changed the textures on some of them to other textures off other mega scan assets so that they're not instantly recognizable. But you're buying an asset flip if you buy this. Nobody should pay for this. Any junior dev with 48 hours to spare to learn UE5 can make what they have shown. And that is not an exaggeration. If you are a junior dev, please either confirm or deny my suspicions in the comments below. Because I feel like you're all going to have the same answer that I have. This is abysmal. And then to add insult to their injury, we mentioned the pop-in. They are in UE5, Unreal Engine 5. If they're having to make the assets pop in because of performance, they could have used nanite, a standard feature in UE5. You'd have infinite draw distance with these meshes, and there's not many meshes, so it's not like this would be an unperformant thing to do. It would be infinitely better than what they've shown. But it comes down to this. This game has had no love, no care, no passion put into it. It was thrown together in absolute maximum a span of a week. And I don't think anyone's going to be able to change my mind on that. You've got the Sonic rings, which when I compared them in UE5, they are the default primitive shape of a torus with the gold material from UE5 thrown on it. How lazy can you be? In my opinion, this game needs to either be scrapped entirely and done from the ground up, or delayed so long that they can actually make something of this. Because I can tell you now, if Diablo Immortal has stole the bottom spot on Metacritic, Sonic's going to come pretty damn close if they release as they are now. Guys, you deserve better than this shit. Don't stand for this shit. Make your voice heard with this shit, and we'll stop receiving this shit. I hope you've enjoyed the video, even though it's been a bit ranty. This really angered me. If you have enjoyed it, leave a comment, like the video, and subscribe if you are really enjoying it. If you want to go the extra mile, please consider subscribing to my Patreon. Every little helps. And as always, I am going to be live over on Twitch, and if that's not for you, totally understandable, and I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, take care.